On the workbench, we're looking at a Mackie Onyx 1640. This is a 16-channel board. A petroleum company here in town uses several of these in their conference rooms. I've replaced 3 power supplies on, or rebuilt 3 power supplies on 3 of the units already. Basically, it's just going to be capacitor issues on those that had swollen. Today, though, this one goes a little deeper. The unit will not even turn on at all. If you come in and click the power button on the back, I'm getting no lights at all. I mean, it's completely dead. So I'm sure in this power supply we've got some issues. So we're going to go through, I'm going to pull the power supply off, and we're going to take a look. Now I know based on how this one's used, it gets turned on and left on 24/7. Never shuts off, and they've had it for about 4.5 to 5 years that it's never been shut off. So I'm sure the power supply is going to have some issues with this particular one. The other ones that they have usually get moved around and taken out on other conferences and so forth. But today, this one here stays in the same room and gets left on 24/7. So we'll see what's wrong with this. We'll pull this power supply and take a look. This is the power supply that came with this particular mixer. And I've just recently rebuilt it. I'm not going to go through all those steps because if you don't know how to solder and identify bad caps, then you probably shouldn't be working on this anyways. Come down in here, there's a capacitor. And this capacitor right down here is C55. That particular little tiny bitty capacitor goes bad. And you won't notice it. There's no swelling. It's just one of those ones. It will not work even if you replace all of these 470 microfarad 25 volt capacitors. Then you have this one right here, which is another important. This is a 4.7 at 63 volts. So a 4.7 microfarad 63 volt, that one needs to be replaced. Again, these 47 microfarad, and these are just little 50 volt caps right there that are very important to replace. Another thing that you might want to replace, and mine tested within the tolerance but I still replaced it, is this big 3300 microfarad capacitor. It's a 25 volt, and again I replaced that one only because I know that that's eventually going to fail. Another thing we found while testing this before we booted it up and put it back together, that we had a power IC on the side and a voltage regulator that had both blown as well. So both of these needed replacement, and we got those parts replaced. Now we're putting the power supply back into the unit, and we're going to test it here in just one moment. Okay, with the power cord installed, we're getting ready to fire up the unit. We've got all the power supply put into place. The board was completely dead when brought to us. We replaced those capacitors, and now we're going to go ahead and kick this power on here, and we have success. We have power light again, and this board is now back operational. I'm going to label the parts that we use to replace on this power supply, so if down the road you have the same problem with this Mackie board, you can repair it or have it repaired at a local service center on your own. Thank you for watching.